Hey guys, well I got some news for you. We got solar panels, so we're going to be talking about it coming up. So when we talk about EVs, one of the main selling points is electricity and renewable energy. But one of the things you have to think about, and what Tesla Q always brings up, is that, electricity is generated from coal. And while that may and may not be true depending on your utility company, so with that said, they are partly right that if the car was fueled by 100% coal-generated electricity, that type of electricity is almost as bad as just having a gas car. Now with that said, most utility companies these days really don't use coal at all, and if they do, only some of them do, and it's a very small percentage. So that argument really isn't valid to begin with, and so most utility companies these days try to use as much renewable energy as possible. So if we take my utility company, good old PG&E, they use about 50% renewable energy right now. The other 50% is basically natural gas and nuclear. So nuclear technically is green, but the waste has to be buried from the nuclear fission process. So basically the carbon doesn't get into the air, but you still have to bury waste. So while getting an EV is a great first step to curbing emissions, you also have to think about your utility company and where they get their energy from. So most utility companies do use a mixed renewable energy source and fossil fuels. So if that's the case, that's better than having an ICE car, but this is where solar really comes in. Besides the one-time carbon emissions to create the products, just like anything else, you're going to get 100% renewable energy that doesn't pollute the earth for the life of the panels, which is about 25 years. What better way to power your car than from the sun, from the comfort of your own home? Having a solution like solar gives you a truly 100% renewable energy source. And not only is that energy powering your car, but it's also powering the house. So my lights being on, that energy used, the energy used to power my computer to create this video, all from a 100% renewable energy source. If every household could afford to do this, and the infrastructure was there, which they are still working on, is not quite there yet, then that would really benefit the earth and tremendously curb carbon emissions. However, solar panels aren't free, so there are upfront costs, just like Teslas when you buy your cars. If you can afford that upfront cost, you're going to save a lot of money in the long run. So saving money is another reason to get a solar system if you can afford it. So our system here is a 5.2 kilowatt system. It's not super huge, but it's going to produce 9,000 kilowatt hours of energy a year, being here in sunny California, so there's lots of sun. But for us, that's enough to power 2 EVs and the house and the AC that we're going to be using a lot more of this summer. The system costs $16,000 before the federal tax credit, which in 2022 is still going to be 26%. So after all the rebates, it costs about $12,000. And that's really not that bad at all for 25 years of free energy. Obviously after about maybe 10 years, maybe a little bit less, then it'll actually be free energy once we've, paid ourselves back for the entire system. So maybe you did or didn't catch that last comment about having 2 EVs. So if you follow my channel for a while, I do have a Model 3, but ever since pretty much the beginning of when I got the car, I've never charged it at home because I have sources of free energy. But it's getting to be a hassle where basically it's a lot easier for me to charge from home now that we have a little baby and we can't really go anywhere, so it just makes more sense to be able to charge from my house. On top of that, we also have a Model Y on order, and so hopefully that'll come within the next about 6 months, and that's going to be more usage on the house, and so obviously I priced that into our solar system when we, created it. So I think for anyone, just having 2 EVs is a really good reason to get solar because you're going to be using a ton of energy just to power those cars from your house. Another reason is that the federal credit isn't going to last forever. So in 2023, it's going to go down to 22%, and then in 2024, we don't even know. It might just go away, so it's better to get on it as fast as you can. And another reason here in California is that net metering, one-to-one net metering 2.0 is not going to be around forever. And so net metering 3.0 is coming very fast. They're going to vote on it in January at the end of this month. And we'll see if it passes, then basically net metering for customers like me in California is not going to be looking good. So you'd have until the end of May, if it passes at the end of this month, to get your solar system installed and get permission to operate, PTO, from your utility company to be grandfathered into net metering 2.0, which is still one-to-one net metering. So I'll have to see what happens with that, but if the proposal doesn't pass at the end of January, then you're going to have a little bit more time to get in there to get your solar system before net metering 3.0 happens, but it's better to get started sooner than later. One more reason for us is because the Model Y is a basically placeholder car. So I know this is first world problems, but we also have the Rivian R1S on order as well. And that is really the end game SUV for us because we're planning on having another kid. So 2 kids total. We have 2 dogs. And so we really need that space. The Model Y is not going to cut it. It's not big enough for that many, kids and dogs. And so hopefully we'll get it by the end of 2023. But right now it's looking probably more like Q2 2024 or something like that. And so we need the Model Y now to, like I said, be a placeholder until we can get that endgame R1S. So if you haven't heard of Rivian, they're a new tech company and they are set up really similar to Tesla. And basically right now they have a truck and an SUV that's coming out very, very soon. And so basically their cars are not light. So the R1S is supposed to be around 7,000 pounds. So while the engineering for Teslas is very good and the cars are very efficient, the Model 3 and Model Y can get about 4 miles a kilowatt hour. Since these Rivians are so heavy, they are not going to be as energy efficient, and I think that's just regular physics. The heavier the car, the less energy efficient they are. And so basically the Rivians are touted to be about 2 miles per kilowatt hour. Needless to say, that is going to be a ton of energy that's going to be sucked out of the house. So solar makes even more sense for us because I would really like to be not killed by PG&E even on a time of use rate. So with the solar system, I can feel good that the Rivian R1S, being an energy hog, will be getting 100% renewable energy and I won't have to worry about carbon emissions, powering the car. So these are the reasons why we got solar to power the car and the house. So on top of that, adding solar panels actually adds value to your house as well. Are you on the fence about solar? What concerns do you have about a solar system? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.